High demand for juveniles by the late Scat Daddy continued into the second session of the Tattersalls Craven breeze-up sale, with a colt by the late sire Sensation topping the sale at 900,000 guineas, the second highest price ever achieved at this sale. Lot 163 was offered by Ronaldo de Souza and Tanya Brown of Mayfield Stables, having been picked up by Hunter Valley Farm in the US for $200,000. The precocious juvenile attracted the interest of the Godolphin buying team before being knocked down to Stephen HILLEN for the sale-topping price.
Scat Daddy has got the front 2 or 3 in the market for the Kentucky Derby. You know, they all seem to win, and you know, they're tough. Work goes in the dirt, goes in grass. You know, it's the last crop. There's a scramble for him, really, for the ones that look like they can run. You know, he's an unbelievable stallion. He looks 2-year-old. I don't think you'll have to wait on him that long. Breezed well. I'd seen him on a tour of Ireland a couple of times. I'd seen him in March and I've seen him in February, and he just seemed to grow and strengthen and get bigger middle wise, and you know, he was on my mind. I think he's going to go to John Gosden. Hopefully, you never know, he may get the Ascot. We bought 14, so didn't expect it. We bought quite a few on spec because I felt there was a bit of value there. Top of the market's very good, but there was value to be had there, sort of in the 50 to 100 range, and we kind of got stuck in there. It's a proven source of top-class horses.
In what was a near repeat of the result on the opening day for Mockler's Hill, when they topped the session with a Scat Daddy colt at 800,000 guineas, Lot 155 realised just less at 775,000 guineas, having been bought by the operation in the US for $220,000. It was Jamie McAlmont who signed the ticket, acting on behalf of the Coolmore partners, who stood the sire of Mendelssohn and Caravaggio at their Ashford stud in Kentucky before his premature death in 2015.
The horse made 800,000 last night, and they were the best, definitely the best 2 Scat Daddies in the sale. So, you know, after the horse had made 800,000 last night, then it wasn't a surprise that we had to pay that much money for him. It's the last crop of Scat Daddy, and he's a stallion that's just got better and better with every crop that he's had. He's had Royal Ascot winners. He's got 2 of the favourites in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, he can get any kind of horse, so it's very exciting to have another one. He's not like a sort of Ascot 2-year-old. He's a horse that you'd hope to see later in the season and be a proper 3-year-old next year.
The top 3 lots of the sale were by Scat Daddy, but it was another US-based sire who also piqued buyers' interest on day 2, with a colt by champion juvenile Street Sense being snapped up by Alastair Donald of Sackville Donald for 575,000 guineas.
The plan is to send him straight to Hong Kong, so he'd probably have a bit of downtime and then quarantine before he ships to Hong Kong. He was a sort of favourite colt in the sale in terms of a type that would suit Hong Kong. The sire had Rapid Dragon. He obviously won the Derby and Horse of the Year 2 years ago. He was a lovely scopy individual with a good stride, good pedigree, and he fitted the bill for a Hong Kong type. So we were excited to get him.
In addition to high demand for US-bred offerings, one of the leading homegrown stallions to make the headlines during the second session was See the Stars. Having missed out on the sale's top lot, it was the Godolphin buying team headed by Anthony Stroud who landed the winning bid for the colt by the Gilltown stud resident at 425,000 guineas. A pair of Kodiac juveniles from Church Farm and Horse Park stud further added to the haul of the sale's leading purchaser, Alastair Donald. The first was Lot 122, a colt by the prolific Tally-Ho resident, selling for 420,000 guineas. The second was a filly by Kodiac, who, like the colt and her former stablemate at Church Farm and Horse Park stud, will go into training with Richard Hannon, having been purchased for 360,000 guineas.
The Kodiac colt was just the most perfectly balanced, lovely, precocious Kodiac to sort of kick on with. He took everything in his stride, very good breeze from excellent vendors at producing a fast, precocious type. They had Memas a few years ago, and he was very uncomplicated, and hopefully he could be a Royal Ascot type anyway. He stays here and would go to Richard Hannon. The Kodiak filly, I mean, she was a sort of similar type to the colt, obviously a female equivalent. She was extremely light on her feet, and she, looked a real Queen Mary type, and it's Kodiak on a sprinting winning listed dam, so it was speed on speed, and hopefully she's quick. At the breeze ups, it's all about the top horses. You know, those top 10% sell very, very well, and you know, people can be fussy at a breeze up sale. They want the pedigree, they want the individual, and they want the breeze. You have to pay extra for that, but you know, it's producing lots of successful results.
At the conclusion of the second and final session of the Craven Breeze Up sale, Tattersalls marketing director Jimmy George reflected on the day's trade.
Last year's Craven Breeze Up sale was a massive success, and the figures were up hugely across the board. I mean, 30-40% in average and turnover. So that was always going to be a hard act to follow. But you know what? This sale has achieved the second highest turnover ever in its 30-year history, the second highest average ever, and that's a pretty respectable performance. You know, there were some lovely 2-year-olds here this year. As ever, the consigners did us proud. Clearance rate wasn't as good as we would have liked. It didn't match last year, which was again unprecedented. But you know, the sale finished with a flourish. We had more lots making 400,000 guineas or plus than ever before at the Craven Breeze Up sale. So overall, it was a decent sale, with again the feature being the strength at the very top. Wrong to pretend it's all been plain sailing, but it was great to finish the sale with a bit of a flourish, and the 3 outstanding Scat Daddy colts, who I think will dominate all the headlines. We saw a lot of the guys we would expect to see at this sale, especially at the very top end, but there were new faces from Hong Kong, from America, and from throughout the Gulf region, and they all contributed to the sale. And look, we'll see some fantastic racehorses, I think, as ever, come out of this sale, and we look forward to seeing that, and also to the Guineas Breeze Up and Horse in Training sale in a couple of weeks' time, where there'll be more quality 2-year-olds on offer.